Cowboys Nation? It's your boy DMV. We're back with another one, and I got my boy Elton on the line. He got the Cowboys hat. He's like my man Joe Rod right now. What's going on, Elton?
What is up with you? Let's get it.
All right, yes sir. So we got a jam-packed show for you guys. Well, I mean, we got maybe one or two topics for you guys that are really good discussions that they're going to lead to a lot of discussions. But before we do that, Wade Wilson, veteran quarterback for the Cowboys, veteran coach, passed away this week. Passed away at 60 years old. I remember him being that backup quarterback behind Troy Aikman, and he was in front of Jason Garrett. So, what do you have to say about Wade passing?
I mean, it is sad. Wade actually did a lot of good for us when the few spots he actually came in and backed up and also coaching. Even though he actually got suspended for a PED use for a coach, which I didn't understand. But I actually think he actually worked well with Dak while he was here. He worked well with Tony. So, I mean, Wade actually, I respected him a lot.
Yeah, I respected him. I always say I had my issues with Wade as far as him developing some of the younger talent, but maybe that's not on him because you've seen Dak came in and was able to do some things. So maybe it was them in their evaluation of quarterback talent as far as him developing some of those guys. Like was he here for Stephen McGee?
Stephen McGee, he might have been, because that was 2000.
I know Garrett was here.
Yeah, that was 2010. So maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so he might have been there for and the fans or the people who out there are watching, they can pretty much correct us. But I look at like Brandon Whedon, guys like that. So, but I mean, those are guys that can't really play like that. So I can't really get too mad at him for that. But I definitely respect his service as a Cowboy player, and the Cowboy coach, as I've said previously. But now that we've done paying our respects, let's get to the nitty gritty. So Jason Garrett, the big news this week is that Jason Garrett is not being extended, and Jerry Jones sounded off for 105 through the fan. I'm talking about it. He really didn't talk about it in particular, like negotiations or anything like that, but he did let it be known that he was not very happy. He was not happy with how we are, so he's not content. So they're going to be negotiating possibly an extension, but the Cowboys brass is not happy losing in the divisional round. So what are your thoughts on that?
To me, I am not mad at that thought process, because as a Cowboys fan, these last 23 years have been frustrating. But I am going to say this. I am going to ask you this question. I am going to give you two records. I am not going to say the names of each. There is one coach since 2011 who is 72-56 with 6 starting quarterbacks during that time. And it's another coach that is 66-60 with 1 QB. Who do you think those two coaches are?
I think that the one coach at 72-56 is Jason Garrett, and the one coach is probably Sean Payton with the one quarterback.
Exactly. But it is Cowboy fans who will tell you they are down for Sean Payton, and that one quarterback is Drew Brees, who is right now, to stats wise, the second greatest QB of all time. And during those time periods, Jason Garrett has won more games.
Yeah, and the only reason I knew that is because, like here's the crazy thing, Cowboys fans out there, we did not plan this or nothing. I just knew that at one point the Saints was like 7-9, like 3 years in a row. And I remember somebody saying like, "Hey, if that was Jason Garrett, you guys would be calling for his head. Now you're calling for Sean Payton because he's had 2 good years." But they were 7-9 3 years in a row. We was complaining about 8-8 3 years in a row. So yeah, I definitely know. That's kind of how I knew that. And then I do know that Sean Payton is high in demand from Cowboys for Cowboys fans. And I'm with you on that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Sean Payton is a better coach, but
what are you actually getting in? Sean Payton's won maybe one more playoff game during that time. So, yes, he's won a Super Bowl 10 years ago.
I think the only difference is that you're getting is a little bit more in philosophy. Sean Payton is what is sexy to the Cowboys fans, which is vertical routes, verticals up the seam, and, a lot of throwing, which for some odd reason, Cowboys fans think that we have to throw 1,000,000 times and it has to look sexy. When in all actuality, when you look at the history of our franchise, we got a workhorse back that has led us to championships. Workhorse back in defense,
exactly,
which is what we're trying to build right now. For some odd reason, we think that you need an elite quarterback, or you just need this guy to throw for 5,000 yards a year, like that wins something.
That nobody who is throwing for 5,000 yards has ever won a Super Bowl in that season.
But damn, it sure looks sexy when you got fantasy football, because I've said this often. I think fantasy football has ruined the perception of what the game actually is. Because what fantasy football won't tell you is that it tell you Kirk Cousins threw for like over 4,000 yards and he threw for like 30-some touchdowns and 10 interceptions. But what you don't know is they went 8-8 and they were behind a lot of those games, and a lot of those stats are pretty much fool's gold. But you'll look at the end-year stats and say, that's an elite quarterback. That's what we need to pay $80 million guaranteed for, which in all actuality, you probably screw your team when you do that. But, I mean, what do I know?
Yeah, because I actually added that up the day I said. So then you will have talking heads tell you Jason Garrett does nothing. So tell me who does. Jerry? You actually think Jerry's up there plotting out plays?
I actually had somebody tell me that earlier, that Jerry Jones is the biggest issue. He has to have his hands in on this. Jason Garrett is the perfect person for our job. I agree with what you said last time, that Jason Garrett is the perfect CEO for this team. But I do believe that Jerry, I used to think he didn't, but I think that he lets them coach. That's why he's not extending him. Because if it was all about having a puppet, he'd be extended, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I'm like this. People don't realize Stephen Jones and then Will McClay makes every decision for the Cowboys. Jerry goes out there and talks. Jerry gets the business done. But as far as day-to-day, Jerry doesn't do that. Jerry isn't in coach. I mean, they actually may have a coaches meeting at the beginning of the week. Hey, actually, this is what happened. But Jerry ain't saying, all right, I think Cole Beasley need to run a bang route with actually Amari Cooper running a deep post. Jerry isn't doing that.
Heck no. As a matter of fact, they in that. If you've watched them in that booth, man, they be on there. They be pretty much on the edge of their seat, like they don't know what's coming next. If you knew what was coming next, if you really was in that huddle and you had the headsets and all of that type of stuff, like people think, then you wouldn't be on the edge of your seat. You know what's coming.
When was the last time you seen Jerry Jones running the sideline? You probably never seen it during the Jason Garrett era.
You're absolutely right. I never thought that. I remember Jerry used to be on that field all the time, like clapping and trying to get guys. Like, you knew we were in trouble when Jerry was down there on the field.
Yeah. When was the last time you have seen Jerry Jones on the field? Jerry Jones is the mouthpiece organization. He is, because why? Because Stephen Jones don't want to talk to the damn press. You've probably never heard Will McClay talk. But those are the two guys who build this roster right along with Jason Garrett. So it actually pisses me off when I damn hear talking heads say, Jason Garrett has no say in the roster. Yes, the hell he does.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I definitely agree. So to ask you this question, so obviously with him being on the hot seat, what do you think it will take for him to earn that extension right off the bat?
I think if they get to the NFC Championship, he actually gets the extension. Now, but of course, if he wins the Super Bowl, can't nobody say anything. I'm not going that far. Do I think we can get to the NFC Championship? Yes, because it isn't a team in the NFC. I don't think we can't beat. Like, they are that much better, roster wise or anything. I mean, but the NFC is so deep, you don't know who's gonna make the playoffs, because you can't really say it's just a horrible team in the NFC. Just like, all right, they are bad. The Giants had a bad record, but it is a lot of talent on the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. Carolina had a bad record, but there's a lot of talent on Carolina.
Because Carolina was 6-2 to start the year off and just fell off.
Hell, I picked Green Bay to be a contender, and look what happened. You know, a lot of things happen. So
I actually had Seattle like at 4-12 at the beginning of the season, and look where they were.
Yeah, exactly. You got to play the games. You play the games the way that they got to be played, man. And with that being said, like with Jason Garrett, like one of the arguments that I heard in the office today or yesterday was like Jerry, like, you know, Jerry wants to be in control of the players and what's going on in the field. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Jerry, the GM, has put together a really good roster of homegrown talent. Like, the argument was that Jerry has to go and do this, that move, and be in control. And I'm like, well, homegrown-wise, 3 years, like, who's the last person we really brought in besides Amari Cooper on the trade that was much needed?
Think about our starting lineup on actually both sides. Probably 20 out of the 22 players are players drafted from the Cowboys. And you ain't going to go on just about any other team. Look at the Eagles. The Eagles is basically outsourced talent that actually happened to work last year.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with finding outsourced talent. I mean, obviously it won the Eagles a championship. But just to let you know, I think that what the brass thinks is that they put together a good enough roster, which I believe as well. I believe they put together a good enough roster to win a Super Bowl. So I think that they're putting that pressure on, all right, well, look, you're not going to be comfortable. Because I think that they built that culture here as of late. Really with Dez being gone. Not to bring that up, but I'm just saying, like, Beasley got to feel his feet to the fire a little bit at this point. Or else.
Yeah, to me, that is more Stephen Jones than actually Jerry Jones. Jerry will let you stay to you 98. Jerry loves his players.
Exactly.
Stephen is more of, I don't think you had a good season last year. What's up?
Exactly. And best believe, Mr. Sean Lee, he's going to be looking at them books, bro. Like, if it was up to Jerry, Sean Lee could play until he was 50 years old, like on his jersey. But
yeah.
I'm betting my bottom dollar.
Stephen,
they're looking at Sean Lee deal right now.
Coming to office.
Yeah.
It is ultimately up to Jerry if a player stays or goes, but
not necessarily. I think that they go to a voting system now.
Yeah, because usually those decisions are made for him. Hey, Jerry, we don't think this guy's capable anymore. What you say? Because I am 100% sure Jerry Jones didn't want to cut Dez Bryant.
Yeah, me too. He was outvoted on that one. He was outvoted, and I truthfully believe that. I don't think Jerry wanted to cut Romo.
Me either. And if you look at all the nothing, it was Stephen Jones in the war room. Like, Tony's always hurt. It is time for us to look for a new quarterback. We actually can't count on him anymore.
Yeah,
that was Stephen. That actually wasn't Jerry.
Yeah, so right now you're not seeing, if it was up to Jerry, in my opinion, Jason would have already had his extension. This is Stephen right now. This is Stephen's reign, and this is Will McClay. And because why else would you think Will McClay wouldn't leave if he wasn't offered that power? He don't have the title, but best believe.
Yeah, Will McClay is the general manager. Jerry has the title of it, but Jerry isn't the general manager anymore. Wilmer Clay could have had that title in damn Houston. He already knows the deal. I am the general manager. I am going to stay. Stevens pretty much the guy who runs everything. Jerry is the guy who actually goes out there and talk, because Jerry loves to talk.
And this is what I think happened with Scott Linehan. I think that Scott Linehan was the one that was in Stevens' ear. And I think that when they saw the offense the way that it was, Jerry looked at them and said, we believed him for what? This is y'all dude. Y'all figure this out. Y'all figure this out. This is who y'all listen to.
And I actually think by the end of the season, Steven was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Because you actually know that Steven was the one who actually shot down that Linehan's coming back. Said, no, we have not made a decision about who's coming back. And then Jason Garrett had to walk that one back. Steven said, nah, wait a minute for a second. And about 2 days later, Linehan's ass was gone.
Exactly. That's crazy. So again, like everybody that thinks that Jerry is just this overruling and dictator, I think that they really have a voting system in place, and I think that a lot of the times it's getting outvoted as of late. So that'll bring me to my next question. With Jason Garrett being on the hot seat, knowing that this team they believe in continuity and they believe in staying within, do you believe that the head coach in waiting is on the roster?
Probably yes, because I think it is two people. Chris Richard or Kellen Moore. But here's the thing. The only way it would be Kellen Moore is if we don't make the playoffs. But say if we average 30 points a game, the number 3 offense, more than likely Kellen Moore's a head coach somewhere else. And we're 12-4. But if we're 7-9, 9-7 and miss it, and we actually have those same stats, Kellen Moore become the head coach.
Whoa. That would be nuts, dude. It's very possible. And if you look at it, if you look at how Kellen just kind of climbed up these ranks real fast, it looks a lot like Jason Garrett did with Wade Phillips. Looks a lot like it.
The only way one of them takes it, say like if we have the number 1 defense, so again, say if we have a top 3 defense and we miss the playoffs, I think Chris Shaw's a head coach somewhere else.
Wow. Well, here's a crazy thought, because I know that the Cowboys are really high on Doug Nussmeier. Could he be a guy that might possibly be a head coach for the Cowboys?
To me, I don't think so. I say if we have a great offense and we go 12-4, Kellen Moore leaves, he is probably upgraded to the OC.
But also keep this in mind, Jerry's really high on Mark Colombo as well. For some reason, Mark Colombo is probably mentioned before Kellen Moore is, as far as like when he's talking in the interviews. Like, yeah, Kellen's the OC, but Mark Colombo is one of the guys he mentions first when he says our young coaches on the staff have a lot of ideas.
Yeah, because I think he's that fiery guy, sort of like why people like Chris Richard, because he's that, hey, I'm in your face, hey, what you doing? He's that type of coach, so it's easy to sell that to the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm with you. For the most part, I believe that Jason Garrett is the perfect CEO for this team as far as the media and all of that type of stuff. Do I think he's the greatest coach out there? No, but is he probably one of the better ones that can handle what's going on right now with the Cowboys? Absolutely. So I'm going to segue to our last topic, which is, Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Like, obviously, it was a lackluster Super Bowl when it comes to offense. It was a 13-3 victory for the Patriots over the Rams, who struggled. Offensive juggernaut only scored 33 points. And I look at Tom Brady. You look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady had a pretty pedestrian day. He didn't play bad, but he looked a lot like the Tom Brady that won his first couple of Super Bowls. So at my job, we had this discussion, and the discussion led to, you know, whether or not who's more responsible for the Patriots' run. Is it Tom Brady or Belichick? And we all agreed that Belichick and Tom Brady have the perfect marriage. But it was more so like 55-45, like who has the edge. And for me, I thought it was Tom Brady, being that, you know, having that strong rock at quarterback, you're able to do some things with turnover of the roster and stuff like that. And so the discussion led to, don't you think Aaron Rodgers can come in and do what Brady did? So I'm going to ask you that question. Do you think Aaron Rodgers could have came in or Breeze and come in and do what Tom Brady has done for the Patriots with Belichick as the coach?
No.
So why do you believe that they wouldn't be able to do that?
Because if you look at it, Aaron Rodgers has only had one good playoff run since he started with probably superior outside weapons, other than the 1 year when Brady had Moss and Welker, and then he hasn't done it. I mean, Breeze has had probably just a little bit better outside talent, but the Saints don't have really a lot of true outside weapons. It is a great system. So I would give Breeze more of a shot, but once again, he's really only had one good playoff run. Yeah. Brady does it every year with three.
It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter who it is. So it kind of led me to this, because I look at our quarterback right now, and I know that I normally hate the comparison between Dak and Tom Brady, and I've been one that says like it's too early. But when you look at the last 3 years that he's been in the league, there's only one guy that's won more games, and it's Tom Brady. And then I look at, you know, what Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl, where it's just keep it close, don't make that mistake, and then go out and win it. And what he's done, we see that a lot from Dak. So does this mean that Dak is a Super Bowl caliber type quarterback, and we just have to turn over the roster the right way for us to be in the position to win these type of games, or coach better, or like, what do you think as far as that goes?
I absolutely do believe Dak's actually quarterback. The Super Bowl winning type of quarterback. All right, let's look at the yards Brady actually had in his first three Super Bowls. 2001, 28-43, of course, and then he started 14 games. 2003, 36-20. 36-92. Who does that sound like?
Sounds like Dak, which is about what we talked about before the year. We were like, man, shoot, all I really need Dak to throw for is about 3,500 yards.
Okay, and even with touchdowns, that actually first year 18 touchdowns, the second one 23 touchdowns, and the third one 28. That is right around the range Dak is at now.
If we're being honest, Tom Brady really didn't explode stat wise until they got Randy Moss. Yeah. And then really studying Peyton Manning and how having the command of the offense, Tom Brady really started getting the command of the offense and knowing the defense and stuff that he's seen. And just keep this in mind, Dak is only in year 3. You can start to see that at the end of this year, he started knowing what he was seeing, and then you could kind of tell that later on in the year, from the Giants game on, the play calling was different. So somebody else, I don't really think that it was Linehan calling the plays. That's just my hunch, because I started seeing a little bit more bootlegs, a little bit more things to help Dak. In the goal line, I saw a little bit more things that we've been crying for however long. We started seeing it. So I think that, with that being said, I'm with you. I think that Dak is very comparable to a Brady. And the one thing that they have that a lot of quarterbacks don't have, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Dak is the GOAT, because Tom Brady's the GOAT. But you can't measure this right here. You can't measure this on the stats that you were just reading. Like, you either have it or you don't. And when it comes to that big moment, no matter what you want to say about number 4, he don't shrink. He does not shrink in that moment. I really wish that he had the opportunity against the Rams to have that ball back where we're going. I really wish the defense would have gotten the ball back, because in my heart, I know for a fact we're tying that game up. I know that for a fact. So, without any further ado, that's pretty much the show today. You got anything before we leave?
Nope. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Well, Cowboys Nation, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell each time we come out with one of these podcasts. We here every Wednesday night. I know last week we was Thursday morning because I was having some technical difficulties, but hopefully we get this up Wednesday night and you guys can enjoy the great conversation we had. All right. So peace out.